This is the speech PCB that I made for the Psion Organiser with quite a few mods, and the reason the chip's missing is because some new boards have come in. This is a version 1.1, which is the same circuit with the correct footprint for this IC here. It's got the right number of pins now, which does help, and some other fixes. And I have plugged it into my LZ64 that I've got here. This is a machine that I use almost every day now, and it does work. And it works, the code actually works on the 4-line display, which I didn't know because I hadn't tried it. Thank you, because I hadn't tried it on my LZ64, but it does work perfectly. If you go into speech and setup, it does work in 4-line mode, so that's quite nice. It also doesn't talk in this menu, which is odd, as it's the setup for the speech adapter, but there we go. So it's going to talk, isn't it? So there is some distortion at the moment. I'm not sure what it is exactly, but the Psion has a bit of trouble driving at least this. This is an 8 ohm speaker. I've got a 16 ohm that I salvaged out of a walkie-talkie or something here at the moment, and that's much better. And if you use the earphones, that plugs in there, they work fine. So it is just driving the current needed for a 16 ohm speaker. I think a 32 ohm would be even better. Now this board isn't perfect. Unfortunately, I have to put a wire on the back because one of the signals that I corrected on the original, I didn't correct it correctly. So there is a modification needed there, and I've also put some extra capacitance on the supply to this amplifier chip to try and alleviate the problem of driving these low impedance speakers. So I think there's going to have to be a version 1.2 with quite a lot of power supply modifications around the amplifier, and to try and get the thing working better with speakers. Now if you don't want it, thank you. I'm going to shut that up, I think. So if you don't want to drive a speaker, it's fine, because you can drive it into thank you, an aux input, and let's find the video and turn that off. Right. So that should now not say anything. So if you want to drive an input, that's fine, or headphones, that's fine. It's just the speakers, because the Organiser is a very low power device, and I think it's having trouble actually supplying the amount of current needed. There is a USB supply here, and that goes in and feeds the battery, but even that seems to be having trouble driving these loads. What else? I mean, so having another board done, it's not particularly expensive, takes a bit of time. Bearing in mind these chips are, what are they, £10 each. Having some boards made up is fairly minimal cost. It's a bit fiddly making everything and populating them, because there's quite a few components on there. There's quite a few chips on the back. You've got the ROM circuit, and you've got the USB power circuit, and then you've got the speech circuit with its amplifier, so it's quite a packed board really. I did find out these chips are fairly resilient to being plugged in the wrong way round. This one I did plug in the wrong way round, unfortunately, but it still works, so that's good. So that saved me £10. The second chip, which is here, I did try that, that's fine, that works as well. So these are both speech chips, they're not fakes or anything. And it's sort of fun actually, it's quite interesting. It is tricky getting this speaker working, so that is a bit of a problem, and I've only used salvage speakers at the moment. I haven't actually bought any. Maybe I ought to do that, buy a 32 ohm speaker and see if I can get that working. That would be better, I think, because you are going to flatten your battery pretty quickly. I use rechargeable, so I'm not too bothered, but if you're going through non-rechargeable 9-volt batteries, it would get quite expensive, I suspect. But so that's version 1.1, which works a lot better. Well, Actually it doesn't, it works exactly the same, but it's a lot easier to make than version 1.0. So I'm going to do a 1.2 I think, because it's not quite there. But I'm going to have to take some of these chips off. I didn't buy very many amplifiers, I only bought 2 actually, so I'm going to have to salvage parts off here. But there we go. Let's sign off with some speech. Turn it on. Let's try to talk or do something. It's a bit noisy. It does make various sounds when you read the ROM and so on, which, looking at the circuit, no, I'm not sure it should do that, but I'll have another look at that. Here we go. So I should be able to go in to Notepad. Yeah, so there's a bit of distortion at the beginning sometimes. Let's see if we can say goodbye. It may not be in its vocabulary, so it may spell the word out. Yeah, Goodbye.